Hi everyone, Arnold here, santamuertemagic.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. The topic of today's video is how long should candles burn? So this was a question I got, I think, through the contact form on the website. Basically, the person asked about the way I write the instructions for the petition rituals that are on my site and in my books. In most, if not all, of the instructions that involve a candle, I usually write something like, let the candle burn to completion. But if you notice, as this person did, I usually do not specify what size candle you should be using, and therefore the question of how long your candle will burn is ambiguous. It is ambiguous because it really does not matter. Honestly, if all you had on hand was a tiny birthday candle, then you could use that birthday candle and the petition would probably be over in about 10 minutes. But that's fine as far as the instructions are concerned. One thing to keep in mind as you are reading magical instructions, including the instructions I share for my petition rituals, is that where an instruction is vague or open to interpretation, then specificity does not matter, and there is no reason to overthink it. For example, if you saw an instruction to go out in the light of the full moon, you might think, well, what time am I supposed to go out? Do I go out at midnight? In some places, you see the moon at 6 or 7 in the early evening. Does that count? Well, 3 a.m. is traditionally known as the witching hour. Should I wait until 3 a.m. to go into the light of the full moon? All of these answers are correct. Follow your heart, follow your intuition. If the instruction only says go into the light of the full moon, then that's the only requirement you need to meet if you're trying to stay faithful to the instructions. 7 p.m., 12 a.m., 3 a.m., it does not matter. Do not overthink it. The light of the full moon is the light of the full moon, no matter what the clock says. So, going back to the candles in my instructions, the advice is the same. You light a candle and you let it burn to completion. How long should the candle burn? It should burn for as long as it takes for the candle to burn to completion. Now, let's say all you had on hand was those cheap little birthday candles, and let's say your petition was actually over in about 10 minutes. Depending on what you are asking for, this might not seem like enough time. You might think to yourself, this petition is an act of devotion in and of itself. That candle I burned was an offering candle. It was an offering in and of itself. And everything was over in 10 minutes. If you think to yourself, I think that went too fast. If you think to yourself, I'm not sure if my intention, my energy had enough time to build in that short amount of time. If you feel these doubts and you feel compelled to acknowledge them, then feel free to light another candle, or two, or three, until you feel like your intent and your magical energy have reached a level of power, a level of potency that is appropriate for the thing you are asking for. If you run out of candles but still want more intent and more potency in your work, then just keep the ritual tools on your altar, keep praying over them, keep visualizing your objective over them for as long as it takes until you feel the power in those tools, until you feel the power in that working space intuitively. Another thing I'll say is that when I was reading that message, this question about how long should candles burn for, it struck me that because the way the question was asked, it struck me that maybe the person was asking, is this really supposed to take several hours or several days? If you're using a 7-day candle or a church candle, and if you're doing it safely, extinguishing the candle when you have to leave it alone, it could take you a week or 10 days for that candle to burn to completion. Yeah, that's right. Nothing worthwhile, nothing important should ever be rushed. In the world of magic, it is often said that like attracts like. That's why we try to incorporate so many things into our petitions that represent the outcome we want to achieve. We incorporate colors, herbs, prayers, maybe even personal possessions of targets. We do that for a reason, because like attracts like. If you are lazy in your petitions, then do not be surprised by lazy results. Remember, as always, working within your means is not the same as being lazy. If all you can seriously afford is a cheap birthday candle, then use what you can afford. But if you are financially comfortable and you're opting for the cheap birthday candle because you want the petition to be done quickly, then you're taking a shortcut. You're trying to circumvent effort. So don't be surprised when like attracts like. With that, I think I will start to wrap up the video. In summary, how long should your candles burn? They should burn for as long as it takes for them to burn. Everything you use in a petition ritual is essentially an offering to Santa Muerte, because they are items which are acknowledging the power of Santa Muerte and acknowledging our relationship with Santa Muerte. And it is always the thought that counts. Do not be afraid to use what is in your means, but if you have the means, then opt for something that is appropriate for the outcome you are trying to achieve. If you are trying to achieve a substantial or a long-term outcome, then a cheap offering or a quick petition sends the wrong message, especially if we operate on the foundation of like attracting like. Keep that in mind when you interpret an instruction that is open to interpretation. Finally, since we are talking about candles, I cannot stress this enough: never leave a burning candle unattended. If you have to leave a burning candle, you extinguish it and you relight it when you come back. There is no prohibition against this. This is what they do at the public Santa Muerte altars in Mexico. The candles are extinguished when the altars close at night, and the candles are relit in the morning when the altars open. Hopefully, I've explained everything clearly, but as always, please reach out if you have any questions. You can get in touch through the contact form on the website. There's also the Patreon messenger system and the Discord chat server. Thanks so much.